what's your take on this Jake Paul shit?
So I hit Logan, and I was like, bro, if y'all don't know what's going on with Jake Paul, the FBI like seized his.
They raided his home.
They raided his home
in
like,
Arizona. One
trucks.
of his homes, which is great.
That's fire. It was Arizona?
Arizona.
Oh, I thought it was LA.
I think it was Arizona.
LA.
You can double check.
He was saying Calabasas, I think.
No, I think it
He
was
lives
LA.
in Calabasas and Arizona, if I'm not mistaken. And the Arizona home got raided.
Calabasas.
It was Calabasas. Oh, my bad.
Yo, shut up, son.
Gun seized.
You know what's fire about a home? That nobody could live above you and also have hooked up with your girl. That's a fire thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You know my only regret about sharing this story, because it's created great content, a lot of laughs, is I gave y'all ammunition against me. And I know I'm going to get AK-47 by y'all motherfuckers.
Now, here's the thing about going at Schulz, though. Schulz is like Trump with the nuclear codes. Like, that motherfucker will press that button at any moment.
Both of y'all. You too, motherfucker.
Let me tell you something, Al.
India got nuclear capabilities.
Let me tell you something, Al. You right. I don't normally know what it's like to be on this end of it, though. You know what I mean?
It's a lot of power to have that button, guys.
Yeah, it is.
All right, go.
Yeah, so these are actually new updates so the Calabasas crib raided, gun seized, and the raid involves a Scottsdale protest.
So they're apparently coming after him because of the video of him with the looters?
Yeah.
That's federal? You need the feds for that?
Yeah, because the local court dropped the case.
Yeah.
Why are they coming after him? He's not even on video actually doing anything. Why does everyone hate this kid is my question.
Well, he leans into that, I believe. He plays off the hate. I hit up Logan, and I was just like, yo, tell me it's not child porn, because that's what I thought it was initially, because the FBI is showing up. I was like, what the fuck should it be? Also, you're allowed to have guns in your home. Right? It's
In
California.
LA?
Yeah,
Okay.
Guns are legal in California.
That's what I also can't understand.
But Mark had an interesting point yesterday about like setting an example thing.
Yeah, I think they might be setting a precedent to be like, yo, if you loot, this is what could happen to you. We're going to like come through with the boys. We're going to fuck your whole shit up. They couldn't do it to like some poor random black kid, like in the middle of Black Lives Matter, send a fucking raid to his house. So they had to pick someone that like was guilty, that was also like hateable. So he fits that mold.
And famous enough to like
warrant a story.
Yeah, so, not only warrant a story, but also like make other people think it's okay
send a
to
message.
go and loot.
Right, exactly.
So it sends a message, but also like Jake could make other people go, "Oh, looting is fun.
It's cool with the kids, whatever." So they're sending this in to make an example, potentially because there might be more riots in the future if Trump were to win the election.
So I think that last part right there is huge.
That last part is where
because
I get on
if
board
they like they did with the statues. Remember, Trump came out, it was like 10 years you take down a statue.
Yeah,
we ain't seen nobody with a rope or nothing trying to take down statues.
Yeah,
right. So now with this, it's like, oh shit. Let's say Trump wins and motherfuckers go to tear shit down again. Well, don't tear down the statues because you go to jail for 10 years. Well, don't loot and raid stores because the FBI shows up to your crib. You know what I'm saying? Like I think they're saying this the precedent now, and when I mean I don't necessarily mean Trump's cronies. I mean like the people that have America's safety at the forefront of their interests, regardless of who wins.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, let's say the FBI, CIA are not biased towards a political party. Obviously, there's evidence to say that they are, but let's say they're not. They still want to keep shit calm. Mm-hmm. There being riots and looting all over the country is not good for the country.
Yeah, instability is not good.
Instability is not good, right? So I get it.
That they're trying to make an example in order to procure more stability in the future.
Yeah, I get it.
I think it's more than just making an example for the rating. Like, I'm pretty sure this has been an investigation going on for a while because the feds
don't just act out of nowhere, right?
And then his friend, some dude out in Vegas, his house got raided the same exact day.
I forgot that detail. Yeah.
So now that's what makes it federal because now it's connection. They can prove
state.
a connection between states. Now it's federal.
Oh, that's right. Anything. Explain federal again. So it's like if there's a conspiracy that's going across more than one state, neither state has jurisdiction on the entirety of the conspiracy. Boom. That's when the federal government comes in.
And so all they got to prove is that one gun, if they see a picture of one gun during their surveillance and now this same gun is in the other place, boom.
You've taken guns across state lines. You might not have the permission. That's trafficking.
Yeah, guns charges. Who just got caught up on guns charges? Is that the Tory Lane
Jake,
shit?
They took a bunch of guns out of his house.
Right.
And then who's friend they got?
This other guy, it's called Armani Izzati, and at one point he actually
This guy's got a diverse group of friends, man.
he was arrested a few years ago for a prostitution ring. So this guy, he's been involved in shit like that. So now this is his second time getting in trouble.
I assume
Interesting.
the tone was like celebratory that he got arrested on online social media because everybody seems to hate him, and I cannot find like good reasons why.
I think when he came up as a Disney star originally. So he came up through Vine originally. Let me take that back. So like,
Then
Logan
he got
Paul
a Disney show.
Pops off Vine. His little brother starts popping off Vine also.
He's the older brother. Logan is younger?
Logan's older. Jake is younger, to my understanding.
Okay.
So then Jake gets on this Disney show. He's doing the Disney shit, and then like goes rogue and starts doing like wild stuff. He gets his house in Calabasas, doing all these crazy parties. Like the neighbors are calling the police. Like there's a kid, like a child with millions of dollars, like ruining our neighborhood. He's just like ignorant, and like the cops would show up, and he would like stand on his car and like tell them to go fuck themselves. So like he was just like a rowdy, like rebellious kid. And when you are like a rich, attractive kid with millions of dollars, people don't like you.
That leans into it.
Yeah, exactly.
He leans into the
You
villain.
left out a really important adjective, and that's white.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
If he's
that's also
if
true.
he's a rapper doing this shit is amazing.
Yeah.
But the feds are still coming after you.
Yeah,
But
and
the people won't be.
But the feds are
The
coming
people
after
won't hate you
rappers
as
because
much.
they talk about breaking laws.
Yeah,
They
sure,
talk
sure.
about shooting people. Bobby Shmurda wasn't in jail because he was rowdy, because he was throwing crazy parties.
right.
I think, and I don't, listen, I'm not the guy that wants to defend white people, but I hate when we just hate a straight white dude because he's a straight white dude who's successful. Case in point.
I would say this, though,
Mm-hmm.
that Jake Paul leans into the hate.
Because
he
it's-
creates the hate.
And
Yeah,
I think
it's
it's
Floyd
profitable
Mayweather.
to be the heel.
He's
Yeah.
So Logan is the American boy. This is my assumption. If they've cultivated this like Paul fandom,
Right.
Logan is the hero.
But
Jake is the heel.
isn't Logan film people killing themselves in the fucking forest? or
No,
whatever?
he filmed someone who had already committed suicide in this thing.
Yeah,
But like,
they both tripped up throughout their careers, obviously.
I don't have a problem with either of them. I'm just saying.
But again, film it like you wouldn't film that. Like, I don't understand how we can film every single fight on the street and we can film all these people, like everybody, like cops leaning on people's necks. Like, all this shit is filmed. And then all of a sudden, Logan filmed someone who had committed suicide. And then that's like this bad thing. It's like, we're all disgusting. We all film things every single day that we should be helping instead of doing it. The person's already killed. It just seems weird that like the entire world jumped out.
Yeah.
And they're like,
To my point, he is a good-looking straight white dude, so fuck him.
With millions of dollars.
With millions of dollars
yes.
also.
So yeah, no,
And
he's
it's
easy
in
to
poor
hate.
taste, but yeah, we all
I think
film
it's like
shit
the
in poor
Beckham.
taste.
I think it's the Beckham hate.
It's just so funny how you guys are really driving the point how good looking this guy is.
Guy's fine, dog. Have you seen his body, son?
Every time you
said
talk
it mad times, son.
Son, have you seen his body?
They
No.
all right.
It's like you can't talk about it. It's like, it's good looking white
Why
guy.
you saying they? That's him. That's just him.
Well, no, that to
It's me.
That's an
the
indicator.
only
That's an
honest one
indicator for
out
hate.
here.
That's an indicator for hate. Like if you have
That's-
things people are seeking after, then you're easier to hate.
They're not going to hate a fat schlubby. John Gabrus ain't getting hate. You know what I mean?
In
Like,
the same way.
I think you get hate when people see you as more famous than you are good. So
Kim K.
Kim Kardashian, like David Beckham is the perfect example of this.
Right.
Right? Is David Beckham was the most famous soccer player in the world.
Right.
He was really good at soccer. He was an elite soccer player.
Right.
But he was more famous than he was good.
And a lot of soccer purists hate him, to your point.
A lot of soccer purists, I don't even know if purists hate him as much as like, and again, I'm not a big soccer fan because I think a purist would be like, no, he's a really good passer and like
Okay.
he's been on successful teams his entire life and like he's good. But the average fan who really loves Ronaldinho and thinks Ronaldinho's so good, well, why isn't he getting all the fame? Well, because he's not this handsome guy who's got these cool tattoos, and
celebrity
he's a white
wife,
dude,
right.
and he has a celeb wife, and all these things. So I think maybe when they looked at like a Jake Paul or they looked at like a Logan, there was this. They're looking at and they didn't understand their fame. A lot of people look and they're like, "Wait a minute, they're just making YouTube videos where they're going around doing crazy shit. That's not a skill."
Yeah.
Why are they so famous? And then it's fuck you. They don't realize that like garnering interest is a skill. And they exist in a time where like that is the currency and they're exceptional at it. We don't see it as a skill because we're like, well, it's not stand-up comedy, it's not singing, it's not dancing, etc.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I think to be honest, this is one of the reasons why like we people in our field don't get as much hate because they see a skill
Right.
and then they go, oh, he's famous because of that skill.
Right.
I get it. Or I hate you, but I hate you for your opinion, but like I get that you have a skill and people fuck with you. You know what I'm
I
saying?
agree with that.
Yeah.
And it drives me crazy, people who are famous without skill.
Yeah.
I'm not going to act like I'm different, but their hate is on a different level. All social media people to me, not all, but a lot of them are, to me, more famous than good. The big ones, why these two get the most hate? Are they the biggest? I don't think so.
I don't think Logan gets much hate, dude. I think Logan is pretty celebrated.
He got hate during the Japanese thing.
The suicide thing was the most hate I've seen.
Yeah.
But ever since
Maybe
then,
I just follow a lot of black people on Twitter, but these motherfuckers do not seem to like this guy.
Yeah, he gets
And
tripped.
maybe
a
I'm
little
in my
bit,
own
like-
echo chamber of shit I disagree with, weirdly, so it's not
Yeah.
an echo. But I'm seeing a lot of like hate for any Paul.
If you're not a
either
fan
one.
of his,
Funny. You have a different group of black people that you follow because the black people I follow
don't even know who
give a
Logan
fuck.
Paul is. Yeah. I mean, look, there's a lot of, I'm telling you, when our kids will grow up and they will view garnering interest as a skill in and of itself, right? We never looked at garnering interest as a skill back in the day because the interest was already decided. There were these channels, and we watched the channels, and no matter who was there, we would watch them, and if we watched them more, then they would get promoted within the channels.
Yeah.
Now, anybody could garner interest.
Yeah.
And it is a fucking skill.
Yeah.
And
Antics is a skill.
Antics is a skill, and the Logan Paul, and you saw this with athletes first, the guys who make money based on what they do, the boxers and MMA guys. That's a skill. And in the future, we will look at this and we will respect these people for their ability to garner interest. It's just we're too old, or we're grandfathered into this thing where it's like we only view talent as skill.
Yeah.
And to be honest, we get upset when somebody who's talented but can't garner interest doesn't have that interest that we believe their talent deserves.
Right.
But I believe that our kids are going to grow up and go, "Oh, you got talent? So what? Like, why don't you garner interest with that talent? Like, what are you, an idiot?"
You're missing a huge talent.
Literally, we're going to go, "You're lazy." I think we're going to look at talented people who can't garner interest, and we're going to go, "Wait, what do you mean you don't do Twitter? What do you mean you don't do Instagram? What do you mean you don't do social media? You're lazy?"
Yeah.
Like, why? That's what it
I
takes
think
to be
it'll even
successful.
be a reflection of your talent if you do all these things and you don't have a following. It'll be like, oh, you're not that talented. Because a big part of talent is getting people to look at you.
Right.
Yeah, I think that we'll be able to compartmentalize those talents, but I agree with you.
Yeah.
It will be a criticism.
Yeah.
Where instead, like, what's that rapper that never puts out an out? He just put it out with Jay-Z. Exhibit C was the song that he put out
Jay
that we all
Electronica.
love. Jay Electronica.
Oh, yeah.
So instead of going like, yo, Jay Electronica is the truth, he's the great, blah, blah, we're going to be like, well, he can't get anybody to be interested in him. Why?
Yeah.
Like, he's not even, why wouldn't he focus on that and be good at that?
Right.
I think we'll just look at it as part of the game. And we'll look at the Tekashis and go, oh, yeah, his skill of rap ain't that good, but his skill of gaining interest was fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see. I'm curious if, and maybe kids already do that. Do you think that your generation is like appreciating people who can gain interest despite their talent level?
Yeah, I'd say so. And especially with the Tekashi thing, I don't think it's necessarily like, oh, his music is I don't think it's like amazing, but like it is worse than his fame historically.
Yes.
Like normally people as famous as him have better music.
Yep.
But as far as like average SoundCloud rappers, his music isn't worse.
Yeah, it's not horrible.
Yeah, exactly.
But like his ability at like rapping per se.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the only distinction I make as far as like talent and like attention. But I do think that my generation probably appreciates attention and your ability to like garner interest.
attention. And I think that's where the term clout comes from.
Yeah.
I think it's your generation starting to understand what attention is. And then they're starting to create words for attention.
The currency of attention.
And what the currency is.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, it's clout. Like, we didn't grow up with that.
No. We call clout chasing something bad.
Yeah, clout chase, and then I think their generation will call it kind of bad. It can be critical. It's a diss, but clout in of itself is a thing.
Yeah.
We didn't have clout. We had like respect,
Yeah.
or like we had like, I don't know. There was something else that was like intrinsic to the skill. Like, oh yeah, he got respect. He got people's whatever.
Yeah.
No. Interest. Floyd Mayweather was amazing at creating clout. Conor McGregor, amazing at creating clout.
Back to our antics and talent conversation from last time. The first example I can think of that outside of like maybe period in entertainment, Deion Sanders.
Amazing at Clout.
I remember him saying on something that like back then cornerbacks didn't get drafted super high. They didn't get big contracts. So he was like, I got to make myself a name so that I get drafted high, so that I get the big contract, so I get the endorsement deals. Because that's not a sexy position in and of itself. Keeping a guy from catching a pass, how the fuck is that exciting? Yeah. But so your Dion, he created prime time. And he started dancing all over and high-stepping all the way to the end zone whenever he returned kicks and holding the ball out here. Antics and talent.
Yeah, and it really is a function of like the supply and the demand. Like as the supply is increased, the competition for the eyeballs is increased.
Yes.
And so as a function of the supplied side getting greater,
right,
there's more like value put in the ability to sort of climb the ranks
that separates
of the supply.
you. And in this example, the supply you're referring to is talent, where the supply was restricted before via
content rather. Yeah,
sure,
and even avenues for talent.
The avenues for talent were restricted before to TV channels, right? Which there was like a finite amount of them. Now, infinite amount, right? And now, because of that, way more skill-talented people are coming out. Right. Skill talented, way more rappers that are really good. We could go on SoundCloud and find a guy who raps exactly like Kendrick Lamar. A guy could just mock Kendrick Lamar, but hey, this is how Kendrick Lamar raps. I see these all the time. This is how Travis Scott makes a beat, and they just make a beat that sounds fire, just like a Travis Scott beat. So the amount of people who have that quote unquote skill talent are out there. The ones who have skill talent and clout talent are the ones that start to pop. What up, people? You just watched a clip from our weekly Patreon episode. You can support the flagrancy. You can support this unapologetic, unfiltered, uncensored content that we drop weekly on our Patreon at patreon.com/flagrant2. You want to go join? You should, because it's the top 10 Patreon in the fucking world. That's right, for good reason. Go check out why at patreon.com/flagrant2. All right, peace.